Well, here we are. It is a Thursday night, and after a very warm, if not downright hot day in some places in the Northeast, we're getting ready for maybe a little bit more in the way of thunderstorm activity. That certainly will be the case across much of the South, from Texas to the Southeast coast over the next several days, as we have various forecasts for severe weather. So we'll talk all about that. We'll look at the weekend and maybe peek into early next week. That is what is in store on this exciting Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast, because they're all exciting. And you can support the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast by shopping on Amazon using our referral link that's pinned to the top of the chat board and also on the descriptor to this podcast. Just search for whatever it is you're going to buy. And when you do, Amazon throws us back a little bit of coin for sending you there. It doesn't cost you one extra cent out of your own pocket. And it's a good way of keeping the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast, the live part of the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast, commercial free. And also brought to you by Tempest by Weatherflow. They're back. Yes, get the revolutionary Tempest weather system. Join the fastest growing observing weather network on the planet. The link is on the descriptor to the podcast, because I can't put two links up and pin them to the top of the chat board. But if you go on YouTube and pull up the video later, you'll see in the descriptor that the referral link is there. And use the coupon code summer 2025, because if you do, what will they get, Joe Rayo?
Is it the 10% off offer?
It is, yes.
Yes.
So they'll be getting.
10% off.
That's right. Yes, very good. I was wondering when I was setting this up to say, is he going to remember the 10% off
Of
part?
course.
We haven't done it in a while, but they're
Of
back.
course I would remember. Yes.
Yes. So
Yes.
Tempest is back, and I have a Tempest weather station, by the way, and it's great because
My
uh,
wife is going to kill me.
why?
Bernardo's going to kill me. She said the last thing she said to me before I headed
Fix your
down
hair.
is to brush my hair because I took a shower this afternoon, and so my hair looks a little disheveled.
Well,
I
Joe, they always say that you should take showers in a month that ends in an E. Okay, and June is such a month. So you're 5 days into it, but you know what? Better late than never. Um,
I took a shower because I was out, as you can see, doing some lawn work today, and
so you were the lawn ranger. Very good.
yes, but
I
the thing is that where I am, I'm surrounded by so much brush and forest and whatever like that, and then you never can tell if one of those little rascals, a tick, uh, decides to hitch a ride on you or your dog, or so. I can't talk to my dog, but as soon as I come in after spending time outside, I go immediately into the shower and try to clean up and clean off as much as I possibly can. So.
I have on several occasions found ticks in places, how shall we say, that make you ask yourself, how did it get there? Okay, so because I have absolutely no clue.
Yep.
So, anyway, hot. Yes, I did, Tom Contino, wear the same shirt last night. I mean, seriously, it's not like I need to wear a different dress every night. I'm comfortable. It's the same shirt. It's still clean. I might not be, but it's still clean.
If you did that today at my house, if Renata had saw you wearing that same shirt, she'd look at you and she'd say, "Is that the same shirt you wore yesterday?"
Yes.
And you would
And
say, "Yes."
she would also observe, because it's true. Because I've been working out in the yard, I'm working out in the yard.
And look,
I've been
Tom Contino saying the same thing on the chat board. Didn't Joe Choppy wear the same shirt last night?
you know, I've been the same. I've basically been in the same pair of short pants for the last 8 or 9 days, because I've just kind of been working in the yard. So I just figure,
He
why
gave
am
it
I
to
going
me.
to why dirty a different pair of pants every day? I'll just keep dirtying the same ones, and then when they get to the point where I have to peel them off my skin, then I know it's time to wash them.
Well, I mean, like with me, it wasn't the shirt; it was the pants. I this only the second day, second consecutive day I wore the same pants I wore yesterday, and she looked at me. This she said, "Is that the same pants you wore yesterday?" I said, "Yes." He said, "The same pants that you wore in the car down into Manhattan, the same pants that you wore when we went into that old and musty theater. We saw a Broadway play yesterday. The
Yeah.
same pants that you sat in those chairs, and God only knows how many people have sat in that chair beforehand before you. The same pair of pants when we went to the restaurant." I said, all right, you made your point.
Yes. Paul Ro- Paul Roman hit super chat, so maybe we can buy ourselves a new pair of pants at some point. Thank you so much, Paul. Real weather legends wear blue. Yes. Well, Joe had blue on yesterday, but he was doing the yard work today, and I,
Yes,
s-
yes.
I still I have my take weather Cirrus shirt on. So I'm kind of gazing. Joe's gonna do the radars tonight. Excuse me, but I'm kind of grazing off screen here so I can see the radars, which are pretty quiet near the coast, but they look kind of busy in upstate New York and in western Pennsylvania. But that stuff's not coming here tonight.
Right. Well, I did mention on my Facebook forecast, and I do it for the Hudson Valley, solely for the Hudson Valley. And I said a 10%, a 1 in 10 chance of a locally gusty thunderstorm overnight, chiefly for places north and west of the I 84 corridor, which means where I live, where Westchester people are, and Rockland, and down toward, let's say, New York City, it is quite likely that you're not going to see anything tonight. But if
Right.
you go well north and west, you could conceivably run into one of these localized, the kind that lasts maybe like, 10 or 15 minutes at most, heavy, gusty thunderstorms. But again, only a small probability or possibility for that to happen.
Now, what I envision is possible tomorrow, I mean, just kind of judging the way some of the models that are constructing what the view of the radar is forecast to be. But I kind of have a notion that tomorrow's going to be one of those days where if you're right along the immediate coast, you're going to be staring at the southern edge of like the blackness in the sky, and that there could be some strong thunderstorms like just inland in northern New Jersey, maybe by you, and maybe probably the better chance might be in Connecticut, where we could see some big some bigger boomers form later tomorrow.
Yeah, it's certainly a possibility that that could be the case tomorrow. But tonight, again, I think much of the activity is going to stay just to our north and to our west.
Right.
We'll
Meanwhile,
see.
here in Georgia, after what was a very nice day here in North Georgia, actually through most of the state it was, we've got potentially a couple of rounds of severe weather to deal with, one tomorrow and then another round on Saturday. And that may run across a good chunk of the deep south. So we're going to take a look at that as we peruse what is going on tonight in the land of watches and warnings and advisories. And we do have a bunch of severe thunderstorm watches. Um, Joe Rayo is going to be prepping some of the local radars, and we'll get to him again in a second. But at the moment, we actually do have a relatively new severe thunderstorm watch posted for parts of a couple of counties in northeast Pennsylvania, and then on the other side around Binghamton and maybe just into the westernmost Catskills, not Sullivan County, but the county that's next to Sullivan County to the northwest. In it, it's just a couple. It's one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, 8 counties that seem to be involved in this smallish severe thunderstorm watch that has been put up. We also have one in eastern Colorado, mostly all east of I-25, and a tornado watch, or what's left of a tornado watch, in southeast Colorado and southwest Kansas. There's a newer tornado watch in southeast New Mexico and West Texas, with a severe thunderstorm watch in southwest Texas. And we have severe thunderstorm watch in central Oklahoma, along with an east-west area of flash flood watches in northern Oklahoma and the southern Kansas counties, and also covering a handful of counties in northwest Arkansas and into southern Missouri. And as we look at the satellite loop, various areas showing some lightning strikes. We can see them in southern Georgia and along the South and North Carolina coast, although the Carolina thunderstorms seem to be fading now. There's a couple of cells over in Florida. You see the strikes there. And actually, skies from Maine down to New Jersey are not totally cloud free, but for the most part are. But you can see the lightning strikes going on in western New York and into parts of western Pennsylvania. And then we also see the thunderstorms in Colorado and New Mexico and moving into West Texas. And speaking of thunderstorms, Mr. Rayo, you can take over on the radars if you would.
All right, we will do that. We will do that right now. And for a change, I think I'm going to actually start off with something you just showed, Joe, and that is actually it's a close-up of the northeastern United States, and it shows you quite clearly that there are some localized strong thunderstorms. They're more or less hit and miss, and there are a lot more misses than hits. But you can see up here across south central Maine into central New Hampshire, there's a cell. Here's one over Vermont. Dennis Cassie is watching. That looks like it may make a move toward Springfield and Stellafane in the next half hour. And then further south and west, you have, looks like in the vicinity of Binghamton, we have some heavy clusters of thunderstorm activity down across into central Pennsylvania and continuing south and west into portions of West Virginia. So let's now move on to another view here, and I'm going to do, if I could just hang on for a second, I'll stop the share on that, and we'll move over to take a look at individual radars here. Did you say something?
No, I'm just clearing my throat.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go get a little bit of water. So you just keep yapping.
Okay, well, from what you get, and actually, let me tell you right now, for those of you who are watching the radar here, I don't know what it is, but some of the radar scans on all the scans I've looked at are a little bit jumbled. This is a case in point right here. This is the one from Portland, Maine, Gray, Maine, if you will. But you can see that there's that one heavy cell that was moving into central New Hampshire. And there's another cell here, apparently over portions of central Vermont. A lot of that activity is not really of any great concern. So let's move over to Binghamton. And again, I'm having the same kind of trouble, Joe. I don't know what it is. Again, all the radars are showing this crazy scrambling, so to speak.
Yeah.
But the Binghamton radar is showing that there are areas of showers and storms occurring either just over or just north and west of the Binghamton radar site, also affecting portions of northern or north central Pennsylvania. That's a pretty far stretch, I'd say about 120 miles north and west of New York. And as you can see, the movement is, well, actually, I can't even see what the movement is. It looks like it's generally from west to east, but again,
Yes.
difficult to make out because of the scrambling. I'm going to try one more radar, and if we still have this with this radar, then you can see, yeah, the same thing. So for whatever reason, tonight's radars are going to be a little scrambled or whatever. But you can see, again, this line of very localized but still very heavy precipitation moving across the northern and western sections of Pennsylvania. Actually, if since I started out with a satellite picture here showing the area of convection, let me do the same thing. This is what we just saw a few moments ago of the Northeast. But if we continue to the south and to the west, let's go to, let's say, the Ohio Valley. We'll go over here and check out and see where the storms are. And you can see there's that band across New York State and northern and western Pennsylvania, and a few heavy thunderstorm cells over Ohio. A few more over West Virginia. Here's one significant heavy duty cell that is crossing over from Indiana into southwestern Ohio. So you can see they're out there. There's nothing really very organized, but where they are occurring, you probably would get 5, 10, 15 minutes of very heavy rain, some gusty winds, and some dangerous lightning as well. So that's pretty much the story, except I want to move down one more place here, and this would be
Go into
for.
Texas and Colorado.
I will do that. Wait a minute. First, let me go down to the southeast. And really, there's not much to show you in the southeast. I thought we'd get some. There's apparently you see the activities blowing up here over southernmost sections of your state, Georgia, Joe, and especially
Yeah.
I'm sure, but there apparently is no significant lightning activity that's going on in that area. So you want the Texas? Let's go to Texas and take a look and see what's going on down there. And you can see there is some rather heavy duty activity, very confined to central Oklahoma, but it's out there. And you can also see here near the Panhandle area and further south into western Texas, there are some rather heavy duty showers and thunderstorms there. You want the Colorado? We will go to Colorado and let us go here and we can check this out. So here's the Panhandle, the Texas Oklahoma Panhandle, and here is Kansas. And you can see here, well, here is Colorado. Here we also have Wyoming, and there is a fair amount of activity. Look at that, the one cluster of very heavy cells of precipitation moving across into Kansas, and this activity again moving pretty good, pretty rapidly over from west to east. And again, I'm sure that wherever you see these areas of red, there's some very heavy rains and some very gusty, strong winds that are occurring. But again, hit and miss. There's no there's no gyre or gyre, if you will. There's no area where there is a concentration, a significant concentration of convection. The convection is there, it's out there, but again, it's again hit and miss, and that's pretty much going to be the story for overnight tonight. Either you're unlucky enough to be in the line or in the path of one of these big storms, or the sky gets very dark and just skims by you either to the north or the south or the west or the east. But that's how it's looking out there for tonight.
Okay. And we've had. Oh, by the way, you can see my dog there. He's might be. Well, he's over there. He's he came in right before the show started. He looked at me. I said, "You, JJ, you can go on the bed." And he went on the bed. So he's taking his nightly. He's in his nightly position when it comes to the Joe and Joe Weather Show
He looks
podcast.
like me. He looks like me when I tune in on PBS to one of the Bob Ross,
Yeah.
the artist, his show. Bob Ross will put me out in 5 minutes, and so I guess he figures the same thing is happening for him when you tune in on the Joe and Joe show.
Oh, yeah. No doubt. Oh, by the way, we've had requests for the drought map. So
Well,
you
he's
might.
actually moving.
What's
He's
that?
stirring. He's stirring. He's up.
Hi, JJ. Um, we've had requests for the drought map, so
The
you
drought map.
you
Yes.
can get that ready, and we can do that at the end here. Here's the wide radar view. There's actually quite a bit of steady rain going on in the Dakotas and up into northwestern Iowa. No thunderstorms in there, and you see all the yellow boxes in the Texas thunderstorms, the severe thunderstorm warnings that are going on there. And we've got a couple of flash flood warnings and severe thunderstorm warnings in the storms in southwest Kansas, as well as those around, looks like just south of the Denver area, where you have a big a flash flood warning. And also in the southwest, again, uh, just to the northeast of Las Vegas, we're seeing some flash flood warnings up there, and also on the Arizona side of the Nevada state line. And again, that's been kind of busy this week, a little bit unusual, but it has been on the busy side there with regards to showers and storms and some flash flooding in parts of the Southwest. Chuck Cardello bangs the tip jar. Thank you very much. And yes, before you know it, I'm sure we'll probably have our first non-zombie tropical storm or hurricane on the map. So here's what's going on from the Storm Prediction Center tonight. You can see the two uh, tornado watch boxes that are up. The one and a bunch of severe thunderstorm watches that are surrounding all of that. And also, you see that small box that they put up in New York State. The risk set tonight is slight from Northwest PA to South Central New York. And by the way, that includes where Chuck is in the Catskills. And we have two enhanced areas being indicated. The one from southeast Colorado into Kansas and Oklahoma, and the other one that's in further south in west and southwest Texas and into southeastern New Mexico. Now, tomorrow, the Storm Prediction Center has added an area of slight risk for northern Connecticut and Massachusetts. The marginal risk line, I mean, literally runs right along the coast of southern Connecticut, back to just north of New York City, and then sort of swings southward down through central Virginia and central North Carolina. We have a rather large area of slight risk from eastern New Mexico and Colorado across Oklahoma and across northwest Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, southern Missouri, Kentucky, Tennessee, northern Alabama, northern Mississippi. I always do that in reverse. I don't know why. And northwest Georgia. And there is tornado risk, not in that whole area, but you can see from the New Mexico east across Oklahoma, Arkansas into western Kentucky and Tennessee, we have a 2% chance for a tornado. And then we have a very large slight risk zone that's being indicated for Saturday into Sunday that covers southern Oklahoma and north central and northeast Texas, and then runs east from there, northern Louisiana, all of Arkansas, Mississippi, central and north, Alabama, central and north, Georgia, much of the whole state is under slight risk, except for the extreme south. Virtually all of South Carolina and North Carolina, except the coast, and it just kind of gets up into southern Virginia. No risk is being indicated in the Northeast or in the northern mid Atlantic states. However, we do have general thunderstorms that are being forecast, and we do have in the long range an implied slight risk. So this would be Sunday into Monday for eastern North Carolina, much of South Carolina, and southeast Georgia, as well as north central and northwest Texas, all under implied slight risk. But then going forward after that, we just have predictability too low. On day 7, which is next Wednesday into Thursday, they have potential too low, and the same for next Thursday into Friday, where they have potential too low. And as far as rainfall is concerned, next 7 days, not a whole lot, quarter to a half inch along the immediate coastal plain from Maine down to New Jersey. You go inland, you get to more like a half to 3 quarters, and then you go further north in upstate New York and into northern New England, some places in Vermont and New Hampshire, and then cutting across Pennsylvania on a diagonal down into West Virginia. It's an inch and a half plus, and across the deep south, as well as areas back in the southern plains, you're talking about an inch and a half to some places as much as 3 or 4 inches. And always remember, again, we are in the convective time of year. So depending on how these storms set up and how fast they move or don't move, forecast rainfall amounts could wind up being 50 or even 100% higher, sometimes 200% higher than what the smoothed out forecast is indicating. So, I didn't really pick up, Joe, on any kind of serious changes in the models. I got to refresh this page. Tropical
I'm just looking
tornado.
at the chatter.
I'm sorry, what?
I
What's the matter?
No, nothing. I'm just, people are talking about dogs, and Harold Olson, for example, says for 90% of dogs, eating takes priority over everything else.
Well, that's true.
But
Eating or eating or chasing squirrels.
do you remember Quick Draw McGraw, the cartoon Quick Draw
Weak
McGraw?
straw, yes, I do. And Baba Louie, yeah.
Do you remember what the name of Quick Draw McGraw's dog was?
Uh, Honestly, no, I
He
don't.
predates he predates Scooby Doo and even Astro on the Jetsons. But the name of the dog was Snuffles, and
Snuffles.
I think the people who drew Hanna-Barbera or who wrote the scripts were having a little fun, an inside joke, because Quick Draw McGraw would say, "Here, Snuffles, I'm going to give you a dog biscuit,"
I remember, yeah. And he would
and
go, and he would
and
go,
he'd go ah. He'd throw it into his mouth, and then the dog would have the dog he and this is true. You probably could find this on YouTube. I'll bet you if any of you wanted to see this for yourself, go on YouTube and type in Quick Draw McGraw, comma Snuffles or Hanna Barbera Snuffles the dog, and you'll see what they made him do when he ate a dog biscuit. I
yeah,
mean, he would, mm,
yeah,
mm.
exactly.
I mean, they really pushed. I think for the late '50s, early '60s, they were pushing the envelope with what the reaction that Snuffles was doing after he ate a dog biscuit or whatever. I'm
Yeah.
just wondering, Joe, does JJ do that when he when you give him a
No,
dog biscuit?
he takes the biscuit and he runs with it
Right.
to the other corner of the living room and just lays down, puts the biscuit down in front of him, and he looks at me. He'll
Yep.
just like look at me for a short, maybe a 20 seconds or 30 seconds, and then he'll eat it. But he just, it's a routine when we come back from the dog park because he just, he comes in, he starts looking at me, and he's bouncing, and he goes near the cabinet. So I give him his biscuit. Yeah, he takes it right out of my hand and he runs with it like I'm going to take it away from him. I don't
But
know.
he doesn't do what Snuffles.
He
That's at
doesn't
the
do
end.
what's. Well, no, we.
Snuffles actually after going through the whole act of he would actually jump, and then he would float down,
Float down, yeah,
float down from the and the legs would still be going. Oh,
yeah.
memories. I haven't thought about that in like 40 or 50 years. Anyway, you could
Anyway, you
see
got the. Go ahead and do the drought map.
right. You see the drought monitor on your screen. And folks, you can see that here in the for the eastern third of the country, or the eastern quarter of the country, we're in pretty darn good shape. No real drought concerns. I'm going to zoom in on the northeastern United States, and you can see that there are only a few places, very few, that are indicated as D0, abnormally dry. That would be for extreme southwestern sections of Maine, also a sector of southeastern Pennsylvania, extreme southern Jersey. Now, just remember, about 4 to 6 weeks ago, the whole southern half of New Jersey was ranging anywhere from D2, severe drought, to D4, exceptional drought. In just a matter of 4 to 6 weeks, and also about 5 or 6 inches of rain later, that has almost completely been erased, save for this one area down here in South Jersey. In fact, let me just bring Jersey up here. And the area that we're talking about is Atlantic County. Atlantic County, and also for a small segment of southern Burlington and Ocean County, southern Ocean County. Those are the areas that are indicated as abnormally dry. The rest of the Garden State is free and clear of any drought problems, at least as of this moment in time. Any place else? The only place that has something akin to a D1 or moderate drought would be right here in Baltimore County, also in Hartford County, and a small segment of Carroll County in Maryland. These are the areas right here that have moderate drought. The rest of the area surrounding the moderate drought is abnormally dry, but in western sections of Maryland and down into southern sections, no drought, no problems to speak of. It is just free and clear. Now, if we go back to the map of the United States, the places that do have problems are in southern and central Texas, where there are indications of moderate drought. In fact, not more than just moderate drought. Let's see here, the deep shade of red would be extreme drought, and the dark shade right here in central Texas and western Texas is exceptional drought. So this is one area that could really use some heavy rainfall or some significant rainfall to help alleviate the dry conditions down there. We also have uh, severe drought and exceptional drought across portions of southern sections of New Mexico, central and southern sections of Arizona. Remember, it wasn't too long ago, Arizona too was free and clear of any drought, but now, of course, you've got the summer season coming up, the many days of heat and dry conditions. They'll have to probably wait until July and August when they get into monsoon season to hopefully see some of that drought problem alleviated. Portions of extreme southern California into drought, also portions of southern Nevada. But really, the rest of the western United States, dry but not terrible. Central United States, also pretty good, with mostly no drought conditions, maybe exceptionally dry over parts of northern Missouri, also Iowa, Minnesota, portions of Wisconsin, and again here in the east, where just like 4 to 6 weeks ago, many areas were having drought problems, or the situation was tilting toward drought problems. Well, just in time before this start of summer, we have been able to wipe that slate clean with again a very, very wet month of May.
And just looking at the pattern going forward, we've been mentioning the last few days on how it just kind of looks like, ho hum June, nothing exceptional pattern. So when we look at the upper air, there's nothing here really that changes my mind. The weak ridging in the east gets flattened. We get into more of a northwest flow over the weekend and into next week. There's a fairly deep upper low that drops down into the western lakes, but instead of moving into the east, it actually lifts out to the northeast, to our north and west. So it doesn't really. I mean, it will cool off for a day or so, but it's not going to get anything exceptional as far as that goes. And then weak ridging, short waves embedded in the flow. Um, and I'm just kind of taking mostly northwest flow when we get into the middle part of the month and beyond. There's some more troughs that are dropping down in the flow from out of Canada. But again, if you want heat, just based on what this shows, probably in the longer range, it may get hot in Texas and in the southern plains for a few days, and eventually kind of shifts back over to the west, to the southwest, because that's where the ridge is. But these ridges here were kind of on the flattish side. There's still a fairly dominant flow coming out of Canada. So if you're thinking somebody's going to get an early heat wave established in the United States, it kind of doesn't look that way from what I'm seeing. Now, as far as the short range goes, with respect to the next several days and through the weekend, now tomorrow the weather front's going to be allowed to push a little bit further to the east, and you can see how the European does get going with thunderstorms again, mostly inland of the coast. You can also see what might potentially be a mesoscale convective complex with that Boeing line of thunderstorms that forms in Arkansas and moves into Tennessee and Alabama and gets to me sometime late tomorrow afternoon and evening. And then it moves southward from there on weekends. And then over the weekend, with a frontal boundary nearby, a little low off North Carolina that's kicking all the way to the northeast. Once the low gets out of the way, the front can pass. But you see there's the European is generating some moisture there during Saturday from Maine down to Virginia. So there might be some showers and maybe a rumble or two of thunder with that. Again, maybe it's more of a severe weather threat across parts of the deep south from Texas and Oklahoma to the southeast. And then on Sunday's a little tricky because it looks like it wants to dry out, but there's still more of this, weak shortwave, these weak short waves in the flow. And the European actually wants to bring some showers up from Virginia and West Virginia very late Sunday, later Sunday afternoon into Sunday evening. And actually has a pretty, decent looking area of thunderstorm activity during late Sunday night, early Monday morning over Long Island and southeastern Mass. Another front comes through with maybe some showers and storms around on Tuesday. And then after that, Tries to get better, but still seeing pop-up showers in inland areas. Again, it's just sort of I don't want to say a summary pattern because I mean it's not one we're not talking like 90-degree highs every day here, but it's got a flavor of summer to it.
And it's a little bit difficult. We were talking about, near the beginning of the show about trying to pin down just exactly what we're going to see, for example, tomorrow in terms of precipitation. You said that near the coastal plain, they probably would be out of it, but just inland, you probably could look to the north and northwest and see the dark skies and the building clouds, and that's probably where the potential for thunderstorm activity is going to be occurring. I agree with you on that. I think anytime after 2 or 3 o'clock tomorrow into tomorrow evening, I mean, even I, here in Putnam County, might be in line for a locally strong or gusty thunderstorm. And then as we move into the upcoming weekend, it looks like later on Saturday, especially and into Saturday evening, again, that chance for showery and thundery weather. But then as we move into the second half of the weekend, Joe, I'm thinking that whatever we see in terms of precip will be ending or will have ended by first thing Sunday morning. And not only that, I think also Sunday will be a lowering of the humidity. The today was muggy to a degree. Tomorrow will be muggy. It'll still be rather muggy and humid on Saturday, but I think on Sunday we will see a drier and less humid airflow take over, and also that should, at least for a short while, put an end to any threat of precipitation as opposed to what we may see tomorrow late, and again what we may see later on Saturday.
Okay, so in our daily view of the GFS, as we play Find the Zombie Hurricane, I have the 12Z run, which today forms a low in the southwest Caribbean in 10 days. So the hurricane going over Cuba and Florida, it's not there anymore. And then that kind of wobbles its way over the Yucatan Peninsula, and we've got a tropical storm of some sort in the Gulf 15 days from now. So there's that. That was the 12Z run. Now we'll look at the 18Z run and see what that did. And the 18Z run spins up something in the Southwest Caribbean, but not now. It doesn't do it until 11 days from now, and makes it into a minimal hurricane over the Yucatan Peninsula into the Southwest Gulf, and it just leaves it there. So there you go. And I should have saved it, but Dave Tolliver's put up a couple of charts talking about this very thing, Joe, about the models and how many, how they produce these zombie tropical storms and hurricanes in the long range. Uh, so somebody went back and counted. I'll see if I can find the charts that he put up, and I'll put them up. Maybe we'll show them on Sunday. I think the number was that the GFS last year, okay, showed 458 hurricanes during the hurricane season. Okay, 458. Now remember, I think we only had like 18 total systems last year. So the hurricane, the European showed 458. The GFS showed 458 storms. The European only showed, by comparison, 117. Okay, so while neither model is perfect, clearly, but the GFS is 4 times as worse than the European was. So there you go. And Tony Gigi did the count with the snowstorms that we should have had like 200 inches of snow or something, if you believed all the snowstorms that the GFS produced during the winter time. So anyway, we will continue to be on zombie watch here on the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast as a service to everybody in that is interested in weather, because these models they're fine in the short range. In the long range, they can pretty much do whatever the hell they want. You can get a general flavor for how the pattern is going to be in a very broad sense, but as we all know, when it comes to specifics, it is it's just a waste of time to focus on specifics that far out. And that's it in a nutshell. I'm going fishing Saturday morning with my grandsons and my son-in-law. This is the third. This is sort of a Father's Day thing that started three. This will be the third year that we've done this. So I'm just hoping that, I avoid any. I want the morning to be dry because we go out at about 5:30 a.m. So we're done by 10:30 or so. So as long as I can it can be dry for those 5 hours, I will be happy.
I can still remember when I was a very young boy, my father and my uncles used to go to Babylon. That was the big summer trip. We go to Babylon and go on my uncle's boat, and we'd wake up at like 5 o'clock in the morning or 4:30. We'd go to a diner, and it was so weird, at that early hour to do that sort of thing. But those are memories that stay with you.
Oh
So
yeah.
I'm creating a lot of memories this weekend with your grandkids, Joe.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. They'll have something to remember me by. Do you remember when Pop Pop used to take us fishing? So,
Yep.
and then maybe next year, my granddaughter, who will be a little older, maybe she'll join she'll join the group too. She's just too young right now. She's only 2.5.
Oh,
So
yeah, yeah.
when she gets a little older, she can certainly come out. She'll be coming out on the trips too, and
I
any
must have
other
been like
grandchildren that I happen to have, along the way.
I must have been like 6 or 7 when my uncle Frank caught, and it was the biggest fish I ever saw. It was a fluke. It
Yeah,
was a fluke, and I never saw. I mean, I've seen flounders, but that was like a flounder on steroids.
yeah. And when you fish for them, it's like lifting doormats.
Yeah, exactly,
When you go out fishing for fluke, you just basically it's like lifting doormats out of the water. So,
exactly. Um,
all right. Well, look, folks. Hopefully, everybody will have a wonderful weekend. We're not here tomorrow, and we're not here Saturday, but we are going to be back on Sunday at 7:35 p.m., which is our usual shopping time. And don't forget that the Joe and Joe Weather Show is brought to you once again by Tempest by Weatherflow. The revolutionary Tempest weather system is yours. For the asking, it's the fastest growing observing weather network on the planet. The link is on the descriptor to this podcast, along with the coupon code, which is summer 2025. Because if you buy one and use the coupon code, Mr. Rayo, what will they get?
you will get 10 big % off.
Okay, everybody have a great weekend. Joe, you
Let
have a
me, let
great
me
weekend.
wait a minute. One thing.
What?
I and I should put this disclaimer out. 5 o'clock on Sunday, I am to be at the Sleepy Hollow High School with the Westchester County Symphonic Wind Orchestra or whatever. And I think I may have mentioned this before. They're going to be playing appropriate baseball music while I recite Casey at the Bat. Now, the concert, there's going to be other music that's going to be played. I'm not exactly sure where I'm supposed to be in the concert, but if it's at the top of the show or near the beginning of the show, 5 or 5:30 or even at 6 o'clock, no problem. In my getting back in time for the Joe and Joe show on Sunday. But if they decide to hold me over or wait until like the latter part of the show, I may be either late or may be unavailable. I'm not sure. They haven't really told me much of anything, and we're having a dress rehearsal on Saturday. We were supposed
Oh,
to have a rehearsal. We were supposed to have a rehearsal a few nights ago, but uh, that's when I had my entire or half of my mouth filled with lidocaine, and it was all swollen. I hardly could have talked. But we didn't have a rehearsal that night. We will have it on Saturday. I'll find out where I am in the lineup and let you know, Joe, on Saturday. So this way we can prepare for whatever for Sunday. And also, if you have access on your cable system to CNN, they're going to be doing one of the rare in television history. I think this is only like the second or third time they're going to do this. They're going to actually telecast live from Broadway a Broadway show, and this is the show that George Clooney is doing from the Winter Garden Theater. In fact, the penultimate, the next to last performance is Saturday at 7 o'clock, and that's going to be on CNN. It's the play about Edward R. Murrow, the great legendary Edward R. Murrow. The name of the play is Good Night and Good Luck, and I happened to have been there yesterday. I was at the matinee, and I will tell you that it is an excellent play, especially the final few minutes when Edward R. Murrow or George Clooney in the guise of Edward R. Murrow gives a very stoic, dramatic speech. And so, if you're interested, it's for free. I won't tell you how much my daughter paid for these tickets. They were a Christmas present, but you get to see it for free now on Saturday night at 7 o'clock on CNN, and I highly, highly recommend you tuning in because it is a very, very good, if not downright excellent, play and a great performance by George Clooney. And there you go.
Okay. All right. Everybody have a great weekend. We'll see you Sunday night. If we have to delay the show by half an hour or an hour, you know, you'll know because when I schedule the show, the time will be up there. But for the time being, we're set at 7:35. So we'll see you then. Bye bye.